Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive
Yeah.
into some really fascinating material.
Looking forward to this one.
Today, we're going to be talking about AI and machine learning.
Right.
Specifically, how companies can actually use it and see some benefit from it.
That's the big question, isn't it?
Get some return on their investment.
Yeah, everybody's talking about AI and machine learning, but
Right.
how do you really apply it?
Exactly. And so, to kind of unpack all of this, we're going to be looking at excerpts
Right.
from the MIT AI Machine Learning Executive Guide,
MIT, always good stuff.
written by Dr. Yogesh Malhotra.
Now, I've heard that name.
Yeah,
He's done some interesting work.
a leading expert in the field. He's worked with MIT and Princeton,
Wow.
Wall Street giants.
Okay, so he's been around.
Yeah, even had early interactions with some of the people who pioneered AI.
Fascinating.
So really, really interesting guy. And
yeah.
what's so interesting about his work is he really focuses on what executives need to know
Okay.
to make this stuff work.
The practical side of it.
Exactly. And so we're going to try to kind of follow that same path.
Love it.
So first things first,
Okay.
AI and machine learning are everywhere.
It seems like it's the hot topic.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without hearing about it.
Yeah, you can't escape it. And yet a lot of companies, they're investing in it,
Yeah.
but they're not really seeing results.
Right.
So why is that?
$1 million question.
Yeah, that's what we're going to try to figure out.
Okay.
Now, in his guide, Dr. Malhotra makes this really interesting comparison.
Okay. I can treat.
He says, a lot of companies are approaching AI like they did knowledge management
Oh, interesting.
back in the day, remember?
Yeah, way back when.
When that was
When knowledge management was,
new hotness.
yeah, like the thing.
And a lot of those early knowledge management projects,
Mhm.
they were really focused on the tech itself.
I see where you're going with this.
Not necessarily the strategy.
Yeah, just getting the technology in place without really thinking about how to use it.
Exactly. So companies would spend all this time and money implementing these systems,
Right.
but they didn't really define what they hoped to achieve with it.
So they ended up with these fancy systems that didn't actually do anything for them.
Yeah, a lot of dust gathering servers. And
Right, exactly. Just kind of sat there.
Yeah, so it seems like with AI, there's a similar risk
It feels that way. Yeah.
that we're so focused on the new shiny object
The AI itself.
that we're not really thinking strategically about how to use it.
So the takeaway there is don't just jump on the AI bandwagon.
Right.
Figure out what problems you're trying to solve.
Yes.
And then see if AI can help you solve those problems.
Exactly. It's about aligning the technology with your business goals.
I like it.
So how can our listeners start thinking about that?
Well, I think
Yeah.
the first step is to identify your pain points.
Okay.
Where are you really struggling in your business?
Right. Where are the bottlenecks?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then ask yourself,
Okay.
could AI help us with this?
So really starting with what's not working.
Exactly. Start with the problem.
And then seeing if AI is a good fit for that problem.
Don't start with the AI
Yeah,
and then try to shoehorn it in.
absolutely. And this is interesting because it sounds like we're talking about going beyond
Yeah.
those traditional business frameworks like Porter's 5 Forces and all that stuff.
Right. I mean, those are still important,
Yeah,
but maybe they don't fully capture
right.
the potential of AI.
Yeah, because I think
AI kind of changes the game a little bit.
Dr. Malhotra actually makes the argument that the speed of technological advancement right now
Yeah, it's moving so fast.
is so fast that we need a whole new approach.
It's not just about
Yeah.
incrementally improving what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's about rethinking
Yeah.
how we do things altogether.
And he actually emphasizes not just understanding what technology can do,
Okay.
but also anticipating where it's headed.
So it's not just about reacting to trends.
Right.
It's about getting ahead of them.
Yeah. And this really reminds me of that great quote from Dr. Malhotra where he says, obsolete what,
Yeah.
before others obsolete it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Which is so powerful, but also kind of.
It's a little scary.
Yeah, what does that actually look like?
Right. How do you actually do that?
For someone
Yep.
in their day-to-day,
Right. How do you obsolete your own knowledge?
Yeah, what does that actually mean?
Well, I think it starts with thinking about
Okay.
what skills are becoming less relevant because of AI.
Okay, so what?
So in your field,
Yeah.
what are the things that
Yeah.
AI is starting to do better than humans?
Okay.
And then what are the new skills you need to develop
Okay.
to stay ahead of that curve?
To stay relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like this constant process of,
upskilling.
upskilling and reevaluating
Reevaluating
where
what-
you fit in.
Yeah, where you add value
Yeah.
in this new world.
And it's interesting because Dr. Malhotra, he pioneered this concept. Okay.
Of real-time enterprises back in 2005.
Wow. So he was ahead of his time.
Yeah. And I feel like it's more relevant now than ever
Oh, I'm sure.
because it's all about using knowledge management technology
Okay.
to achieve real business results.
So it's not just about managing knowledge.
Right.
It's about using that knowledge
To actually do something.
to make decisions,
Yeah.
to drive performance.
And it's about making those decisions in real time as things are happening.
Oh, wow.
And so,
So it's about being agile and responsive
yeah.
to the changing environment.
So how does that connect to AI and machine learning?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
AI and machine learning are basically
Yeah.
becoming essential parts of knowledge management.
Oh.
They allow us to process huge amounts of data
Right.
and extract really valuable insights from it
In real time.
in real time.
So that's really the fuel.
It is, yeah.
That's what powers
that real-time enterprise.
a real-time enterprise.
Yeah.
You need that real-time data
And so
and the insights that come from it.
it's really combining the power of technology
Yeah.
with human insights and decision-making.
That's the sweet spot, isn't it?
Yeah, to gain that competitive advantage.
You've got it.
So can you give us an example?
Well-
Let's say our listener
Okay.
works in the retail industry.
Okay, retail, that's a good one.
How could they leverage this concept?
Yeah, so imagine
Yeah.
a retail company
Yeah.
using AI to track customer behavior in real time
Oh, wow. So as people are
as they're shopping.
walking through the store.
Yeah, online or in the physical store.
Yeah.
And then they can use that data
Okay.
to personalize offers,
Okay.
to adjust pricing
Wow.
based on demand
In real time.
in real time,
Yeah. That's amazing.
even anticipate future trends.
So they could be
You know, what are people going to want to buy next week?
one step ahead.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So they can be.
It's like having a crystal ball
It is. Yeah.
powered by AI.
A data-driven crystal ball.
Now, there's also this personal letter from Dr. Malhotra to a CEO,
Oh, this is interesting.
which is like a
This is like getting a sneak peek.
behind-the-scenes look
Yeah.
at his advice for really taking AI implementation to the next level.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that.
So let's start with some of the technical advice.
Okay.
What really stood out to you?
Well, one of the first things he talks about is
Okay.
this shift from traditional computer programming
Okay.
to data-driven machine learning models.
Okay, so what's the difference there?
So in traditional programming,
Yeah.
you write code that tells the computer exactly what to do,
Okay.
step by step.
Right.
But in machine learning,
Okay.
you feed the computer data,
Yeah.
and it learns from that data.
So it figures out its own rules.
Exactly. It figures
Yeah.
out the patterns,
Okay.
and it can make predictions
Without being explicitly programmed?
without you having to tell it exactly what to do.
That's amazing.
And he specifically points to
Yeah.
Python libraries like scikit-learn,
Oh.
TensorFlow.
TensorFlow, I've heard of that.
Okay, Chris.
Now, for our listener who might not be a programmer,
Right.
can you explain what those libraries are and why they're so important?
Sure. So think of them as
Yep.
toolkits for building AI applications.
Okay.
They provide these pre-built functions and algorithms
Okay.
that make it easier for data scientists
Right.
and developers to create machine learning models
Okay.
without having to code everything from scratch.
So it's like
They're like building blocks.
they provide the foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
So you can really focus on the
Specific problem you're trying to solve.
application.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So they're essential for anyone working with machine learning.
Okay. What else does Dr. Malhotra highlight?
Well, he talks about the evolution of machine learning itself
Okay.
and how we're moving beyond
Okay.
what's called supervised learning
Okay.
to unsupervised learning.
Okay. So for our listener, can you explain the difference
Yes, sir.
between those two?
Imagine you're teaching a child
Okay.
to identify different fruits.
Okay.
So in supervised learning,
Okay.
you would show them an apple and say,
Yeah.
this is an apple.
Okay.
You do the same for a banana,
Yeah.
an orange, and so on.
So you're giving it the label.
You're providing the labels,
Right.
the guidance.
Okay.
But in unsupervised learning,
Yeah.
you would just show the child a bunch of fruit
Okay.
without any labels.
So no guidance.
And the child would have to figure out
Yeah.
the categories on their own
Based on just looking at it.
based on the similarities and differences they observe.
That's a great analogy. So
Yeah.
unsupervised learning is like letting the AI discover patterns on its own,
Yeah, it's like saying,
which is kind of amazing.
here's a bunch of data, figure it out.
Yeah, like go nuts.
Yeah.
What can you find?
See what you can find.
Wow.
And it's really powerful.
So that's one trend, and then what's the other one?
There's also reinforcement learning. which is kind of like
Okay.
training a pet.
Okay.
You reward the AI
Yeah.
for good behavior,
Okay.
for making the right decisions.
So it's learning through...
Trial and error.
Okay.
But instead of giving it treats,
Yeah.
you give it...
Data.
Yeah, you adjust the parameters
Interesting.
of the model.
Okay. Okay.
So those are some of the...
To encourage it
Yeah.
to make better decisions.
Key trends in machine learning
Yeah.
that he highlights.
Absolutely.
What else should our listener kind of be aware of?
Well, he really stresses
Yes.
the importance of understanding
Okay.
the math and statistics behind AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he says.
So you can't just use the tools.
It's not enough to just use the tools.
You really need to understand how they work.
You need to know
Yeah.
what's going on under the hood.
And what are the limitations?
That's those tools.
Every tool has its limitations.
Right, and if you don't understand
If you don't understand them,
how they work,
you can make some...
you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, you can make some big mistakes.
Yeah, and he also really stresses continuous learning, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because this is a field that's constantly evolving.
What's changing so fast?
Yeah.
What, today might be outdated tomorrow. So you're
So you got to stay on top of it.
always a student.
Always a student.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the fun part, though, right?
it is.
It's always something new to learn,
It's exciting.
but it keeps you on your toes.
It can be a little bit overwhelming.
It can be a little overwhelming, but
Yeah.
I think if you embrace that challenge,
Yeah.
it can be really rewarding.
Now, he also makes this point of saying that success in AI goes beyond just technical skills.
Oh, absolutely.
What does he mean by that?
Well, he says you need what he calls smart minds
Okay.
to go along with your smart tools.
So it's not just about the technology.
It's not just about that. You need people
You need people who can
who can think.
think critically.
Yeah, critically about the data.
About the data, who can understand the business context.
Right, who can ask the right questions.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
AI can give you answers,
Yeah,
but it can't always tell you
what the right questions are.
what the right questions are.
And he also talks about
And that's where humans come in.
human sense-making
Yeah.
and common sense,
Right.
things that
What AI still struggles with.
hard to program, right?
Yeah, you try to program common sense.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
And so it really seems like it's about finding that balance.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Finding that sweet spot
Between human intelligence
where human and artificial intelligence
and artificial intelligence.
work together.
And that raises a really important question.
Yeah.
How can humans and AI best collaborate?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all trying to figure out.
To maximize their combined potential.
Ex
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a moment.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we need to figure out. you know?
Well,
It's not humans versus machines.
Right.
It's humans and machines working together.
right. Finding that sweet spot,
Yeah.
where AI can do what it does best.
Right.
And humans can do what we do best.
And hopefully that leads to even
Yeah.
new jobs and professions
Yeah, absolutely.
that we can't even imagine right
Yeah, exactly. Focused on collaborating with AI.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
So exciting to think about all that.
that is exciting.
Now, speaking of the future,
Okay.
Dr. Malhotra talks a lot about anticipating
Yeah.
those future trajectories.
Yeah, he's big on that.
Not just following trends,
Yeah,
but getting ahead of the curve.
right.
So how can we do that? How can we...
$1,000,000 question.
Yeah.
How do you anticipate the future?
Yeah.
Well, I think it starts with just being curious.
Okay.
Having that mindset of
Yeah.
continuous learning,
Always
always be
do.
learning.
Always be learning.
Yeah.
Not just about new technologies,
Right.
but also about
Yeah.
the broader trends that are shaping our world.
So reading,
Yeah.
but also thinking critically about what you're reading.
Yeah. Don't just take the headlines at face value.
Right.
Dig deeper.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Ask those what if questions.
Yeah. What if this technology really takes off?
Yeah.
How will it change my industry?
Yeah.
How can I prepare for that?
It's like thinking about the second order effects and
Nothing.
third order effects
Yeah, the ripple effect.
of all this stuff that's happening.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
Try new things.
Yeah.
Even if they don't always work out.
That's how we learn, right?
That's how you learn. You got to be willing to fail.
Yeah. Fail fast.
Fail fast and learn from it.
Okay. So being curious,
Yeah,
being willing to experiment.
absolutely.
What else?
Well, I think it's also important to think about the ethical implications of AI.
Okay. So this is the...
Yeah, as AI gets more powerful, we need to be really careful.
Yeah. What are some of those ethical implications?
Well, there's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
There's the potential for bias in algorithms.
Okay.
There's the issue of job displacement.
Right.
As AI automates more tasks,
Yeah.
what happens to the people who used to do those jobs?
And we're already starting to see that a little bit.
Yeah, we are, and it's only going to accelerate.
Yeah, so those are really
So these are big questions.
big questions to think about.
We need to be having these conversations now
Yeah.
before it's too late.
Now, Dr. Malhotra, in his letter to the CEO,
Yeah.
he mentions model risk.
Oh, yeah, that's an
Yeah.
important one.
Can you explain what that is?
Sure, so model risk is basically the risk that
What?
an AI model might be wrong
Okay.
or might not work as intended.
So it's like
An AI is not perfect.
recognizing that AI is not perfect.
Right, it can make
It
mistakes.
has its limitations.
Just like any tool.
Yeah.
And so we need to be aware of that.
And take steps to mitigate that risk.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of those steps?
Well, you need to test your models rigorously. You
Okay.
need to monitor their performance,
Okay. So ongoing
make sure they're still working as they should.
monitoring.
And you might even need human oversight, especially when making critical decisions.
Yeah.
You don't want to just blindly trust the AI.
Right.
You need to have
Human in the loop.
a human in the loop.
And it's interesting because this kind of brings us back to
Yeah.
Dr. Malhotra's point about,
Yeah.
the need for human judgment and expertise.
It all comes full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, AI can enhance our capabilities,
Yes.
but it shouldn't replace them entirely.
So this is not about
Yeah.
getting rid of humans.
No, it's about
It's about finding that
augmenting.
human intelligence.
And one of the things he talks about is
Yeah.
this increasing complexity of AI systems.
Oh, yeah. It's getting complicated. Yeah. He mentions this shift from rule-based systems
Okay.
where humans program the rules
Yeah.
to systems that learn from data and adapt
Right. So we're moving away from
over time.
systems where
Yeah.
we tell the computer exactly what to do
Right. Step by step.
to systems where
Yeah.
we give the computer data
Okay.
and we say,
Yeah.
figure it out.
Go learn.
Yeah. Learn from this data and make your own rules.
And so what does that mean?
Well,
For someone who's trying to get into this field.
you need a different set of skills.
Okay. So what are those skills?
Well, Dr. Malhotra specifically mentions
yeah.
the importance of math.
Okay.
Probability statistics, linear algebra.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about coding anymore.
It's not just about coding.
It's really about
It's about understanding the underlying principles.
the theory
Yeah.
behind it all.
Exactly.
Wow. And this is where I think Dr. Malhotra's background
Yeah.
is so interesting because he comes from both
Right. He's got that.
computer science and quantitative finance.
Yeah. That unique combination
Yeah. So he really
of technical expertise
understands both
and business acumen.
the theory and the application.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. So I guess what we're really saying is that
Yeah.
AI and machine learning are not just about
The technology.
the technology itself.
Yeah.
It's really about,
It's about changing how we think,
yeah,
how we work,
yeah.
how we approach problem solving.
It's a whole new way of looking at the world.
It is. It's a new paradigm.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
It's a very exciting time to be in this field.
It is, and a little bit overwhelming.
It is a little overwhelming,
Right.
but I think if you embrace that challenge,
Yeah,
it can be incredibly rewarding.
absolutely. Now, one of the things that Dr. Malhotra also talks about
Okay.
is the importance of building a strong AI ecosystem.
That's a great point.
What does he mean by that, and why is it so important?
So when he talks about an ecosystem, he's talking about
Yeah.
the network of individuals, organizations, and resources
Okay.
that support the development and deployment of AI.
So this is kind of like the infrastructure.
Yeah, it's the infrastructure.
For AI.
Yeah, it's the universities, the research labs,
Okay.
the startups, the established companies,
Yeah.
government agencies, investors,
So it's bringing everyone together.
everyone who plays a role
Yeah.
in advancing AI.
And why is that so important?
Well, because nobody can do this alone.
Right.
AI is such a complex field.
Yeah.
It requires collaboration.
Yeah.
It requires sharing knowledge.
Okay. So we need to
And it requires
vacuum together.
working together
Yeah.
to address the
Yeah.
challenges and opportunities.
And this ecosystem also needs to be inclusive
Oh, absolutely.
and diverse, right?
Yeah, we need people from all backgrounds,
Yeah.
all disciplines, all walks of life,
To really make sure that we're not
Yeah.
leaving anyone behind.
and to make sure that the benefits of AI
Yes.
are shared widely.
Exactly. So it's about democratizing access to AI
Yeah,
and making sure that its development and deployment
right.
reflect the values
Of our society as a whole.
of our society as a whole. Exactly.
Now, one of the things Dr. Malhotra also highlights
Yeah.
is the importance of agility and adaptability
Oh, that's essential in this field.
in a world that's constantly changing thanks to technology.
Right. The only constant is change.
So how can we stay ahead of the curve?
Well, it's about being willing to embrace new technologies,
Okay.
new approaches, even if they challenge
Right.
the status quo.
It sounds like you need to be comfortable.
You got to be comfortable with ambiguity.
Yeah. With uncertainty.
Yeah. With not knowing
Not knowing all the answers.
what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And that can be scary for some people.
Yeah. But it's also exciting, right?
But it's also exciting.
Yeah.
Because it means there's always something new to discover.
It's an adventure. It is an adventure.
Okay, so agility, adaptability.
Absolutely.
And we spent a lot of time talking about
Yeah.
the technical aspects of AI.
The nuts and bolts.
Yeah, but we can't forget about the human side of the equation.
Right.
AI is a tool.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, created by humans,
Yeah.
used by humans,
Yeah.
and it's going to impact humans.
That's right. We can't forget that.
So how do we make sure that AI is used for good,
That's the big question.
that it benefits humanity as a whole?
I think it starts with
Yeah.
being intentional
Okay.
about the design and development of AI systems.
So really thinking about,
Thinking about the potential consequences
yeah,
of AI
from the very beginning.
from the get-go
Yeah,
and putting in place safeguards
to mitigate those risks.
to mitigate those risks. Exactly.
So being intentional,
Yeah.
and what else?
Well, I think we also need to have
Yeah.
open and honest conversations
Yeah.
about the potential benefits and risks of AI.
Not just focusing on the good.
Right. It's not all sunshine and roses.
Right.
There are some potential downsides.
Yeah.
And we need to
And we need to talk about them.
acknowledge those and talk about those.
Absolutely.
And it seems like we need to involve a diverse range of stakeholders
Absolutely.
in this conversation.
We need to make sure that everyone has a voice at the table.
It can't just be the technologists.
Right. It can't just be the techies.
Yeah.
It can't just be the business leaders.
It needs to be.
It needs to be a
Mhm.
broad cross-section of society.
Because this is going to impact all of us.
It is going to impact all of us.
Now, before we move on
Okay.
to our final thoughts,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listener with a question to ponder.
Okay. I like it.
What role do you see AI playing in your life,
Yeah.
in your work,
That's a great question.
in the years to come?
Yeah. Take some time to think about that.
Yeah.
And as you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
consider not just the technical possibilities.
But also the human implications.
It's about envisioning a future where AI empowers us
Yeah.
to achieve our goals,
Right.
to solve complex problems,
That's right.
and to create a better world.
A better world for everyone.
For everyone, that's what it's all about.
That's the goal.
And it really is about shaping that future, intentionally. And one last thought from Dr. Malhotra that I found really fascinating was this idea of self-obsolescence.
Oh, yeah?
He argues that in order to stay ahead in this age of AI, we need to constantly be pushing our boundaries and intentionally obsoleting our skills.
It's a provocative idea, isn't it?
What do you think he means by that?
Well, I think he's saying that we need to be proactive.
Okay,
We can't just sit back and wait for the future to happen to us.
right.
We need to be constantly learning, growing, adapting.
So what, today might be outdated tomorrow?
Exactly. And so you need to be thinking about,
Yeah.
okay, what am I learning today that might be automated by AI tomorrow?
Right. So it's like being your own disruptor. Right.
Disrupt yourself before someone else disrupts you.
And it's really about taking control of your own professional development.
Absolutely. You're not just a passive observer.
Yeah.
You're an active participant in shaping your own future.
And that takes a commitment to lifelong learning, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not something that you just do in school or the beginning of your career.
Right. It's an ongoing process.
It has to be.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
You're always learning. You're always growing.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into AI and machine learning,
Okay.
what are some key takeaways that you hope our listener walks away with?
Well, I hope they understand that AI is more than just a technology.
Yeah,
It's a transformative force that's reshaping our world.
it really is.
It's a tool that can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
So we need to be thoughtful about how we develop it and how we use it.
And it's a journey
It's a journey.
of continuous learning, adaptation, and collaboration between humans and machines.
Yeah, that's the key, finding that balance.
Yeah, that sweet
Yeah.
spot.
Between human and artificial intelligence.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from understanding the challenges of AI implementation
Right.
to exploring the evolution of machine learning to the ethical implications of all of this.
And we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, just the tip of the iceberg.
But hopefully it's enough to get people thinking.
Yeah, and we've included some additional resources in the show notes for anyone who wants to learn more.
Absolutely.
Dive deeper and join the conversation.
Yeah.
So remember, AI is not just the future.
Right.
It's the present.
It's happening now.
So the more we understand it, the better equipped we'll be.
Absolutely.
Shape its impact on our lives and our world.
We completely agree.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Couldn't have said it better myself.